We always started with strategy first. We believed that jumping straight into marketing tactics never works. And usually when I'm talking to a prospect that's working with a current agency or had fired their previous agency, it was because they jumped straight into tactics and the tactics weren't delivering.
Welcome to the Marketing Expedition Podcast, an auditory journey through the latest in marketing, branding, and advertising. Now, here's your Marketing Expedition guide, Ray Allen.
On this episode of the Marketing Expedition Podcast, I get to speak with Chris Peer. He's an entrepreneur, author, and speaker, and he brings more than 20 years of experience in the B2B digital marketing strategy, lead generation, and marketing consultancy for manufacturing firms. As an author and entrepreneur, Chris is the founder and CEO of G8P and Sync Show. Having witnessed the pain and frustration caused by ineffective marketing, Chris and his team developed the Great 8 Pillars to transform the marketing department from a corporate expense into a profit center. He has helped hundreds of companies scale through world-class marketing best practices, and his perspective on marketing operations transcends tactical methodologies and focuses on people, strategies, systems, and software to move the needle. Today, Chris's focus remains on helping B2B manufacturing companies scale through his companies and consulting and speaking. Some of his credentials is that he is the founder and CEO of Sync Show, a B2B marketing agency, founder and CEO of GAP, a marketing consulting firm, and then, of course, the author of the Great 8 Pillars of ROI-Driven Marketing. And he's a 2-time Inc. 5000 winner and certified story brand implementer. And we get to talk a lot about driving and 10xing ROI on your marketing spend. So stay tuned for that. But first, it's time for your Marketing Essentials moment, the basics that you need to help you continue to build your brand and your bottom line. Today's mem topic, I wanted to go over some of the differences between SEO, SEM, paid, organic, and some promoted strategies for online visibility. And so SEO stands for search engine optimization. SEM is search engine marketing, and the differences between paid and organic channels and being able to craft some compelling content to make your campaigns work for online visibility that will help impact traffic to your website, increase your brand recognition, and ultimately conversions for people to buy from you, whether it's online or offline. But online traffic can help with both of those things. So things that can help impact your SEO and helping organically grow the ranking of your website on search engines that look for relevant keywords are being able to have those relevant topics that people are searching for and identifying with what people might search for or words that they might put in or phrases that they might put in for your website to be ranked higher than your competition. And organically ranking is constantly building and creating blog content and information to update your website and having backlinks from other sites that are even more popular than yours, not necessarily directing people away from your site, always having it open up a new link, but then also people linking back to your site and your information that you're doing. And minimizing those bounce rates where people just come and it's not relevant. And so then they bounce off your site and then your ranking goes down because of it. So thinking about those SEO topics or phrases that you can have within the content on your site. So utilizing those keywords, utilizing meta tags on your blog and on your images, as well as thinking about the content quality. It's not necessarily how much quantity, but the quality of what people are searching for and understanding what your audience wants and needs to hear from you. And thinking about how you can use some of these tools. We use tools like SEO Surfer, where we can input our blog content and then it will grade and rank and give us suggested phrases that we could use more of or less, because you don't want to do a whole bunch of stuffing, keyword stuffing, to where then it minimizes your impact as opposed to maximizes what you're using. So we're looking for the focus keywords and the SEO title of the blog post or website page. We're looking at the descriptions that you're using to describe what it is that your post will be about or what your page will be about. Thinking about how your keywords can appear within the first 10% of the content right away that you're wanting to utilize. And then those phrases and those long keyword phrases that people are using, since now people use voice search optimization and they pose questions and wanting to then have your content be the answer to their questions. And then, of course, how many words you have on that page and how many key phrases you have, what your subheadings are, what your alt tag attributes are for images that are found in your pages, what the keyword density is and how many times those keyword and combinations appear in your content on that page that you're wanting to optimize for good search engine optimization, of course. And then, of course, linking to other resources on your website, which will help boost yours, especially if you're linking to something that's ranked even higher than yours. And then also linking to other pages in your own website can help as well. And then thinking about how you can optimize all of this content utilizing new AI tools out there that you can do to help with generating that content and how it's going to help impact your readability, relevancy, the ranking that you're going to get, all of those types of things that can help in optimizing and driving traffic, utilizing videos and subtitles in your videos that'll help increase the length of time that people are on your page. If you have videos, sometimes people will watch a video with subtitles more than they'll want to actually read all of the content on your page. And so those videos can be really helpful and invaluable to making sure that people are staying on your page and not bouncing off right away. Because the longer they stay on your page, the more the ranking sites say, hey, this is legitimate content. We need to pay attention to this. And so that's always going to continuously help. And using those tools to help you in guiding your SEO and where you can go to get that information. So once again, we use SEO Surfer tool. If you want the link, reach out to us. We can get that for you. We have an affiliate link, and then you can use that and get benefits for doing that, and so can we. Search engine marketing, promoting your websites by increasing the visibility in search engine results. And now we've also heard about zero-click, where you just have results on the homepage of the search result, and they don't even click on it because now your information is there. And of course, leading them to click on it, of course, is always helpful because then it counts as traffic. But really what we're trying to do is just increase the amount of visibility and traffic to your site so that you can have long-term and sustainable traffic and growth, and generating those traffic patterns through ad placement as well as that organic growth that you're going to continuously want to build and continuously use. So some best practices here is using effective ad copy and effective copy on your landing pages. They need to work together to then help you build that relevancy that we're talking about. And then monitoring and optimizing those ad performances over time. Sometimes what worked yesterday may not work today, right? There might be new keywords trending, more new things, more new information. And then using the audience targeting tools that you can use when you're being able to tap into paying for those ads that are going to drive that traffic to your site. And then, of course, thinking about the budget that you're going to spend and how much you're going to spend and when you're going to spend it, how often you're going to spend it, all of those things that are going into consideration in helping to optimize your website visibility. And then using things like banner ads with images that are driving traffic, using QR codes to then drive traffic that way. We've partnered with Lingo where they can actually have a QR code that generates to send people to a website in their native language that's already set on their phone, which is super fun and exciting. We've worked on a project and it had, I think, 12 different languages that can be automatically served up based on the user's phone, their language, their native language that's set on their phone, which is super exciting. So things to think about too in language barriers, also accessibility. Can people see your site? Can they, if it can be read to them, can they understand what's being read to them, describing those. That's why those alt tags are so important on images. If people cannot see, then they can hear and they can have the description of what it is on your site. And then, of course, always looking at your Google Analytics or any other type of dashboard that you may have where you can see the results of what's happening, both organically and through paid results, right? We want to see that you're getting click-throughs and that you're getting conversions and you're getting impressions and all of those things that continuously build and grow to help with that long-term growth strategy with your content that you are producing. Then, of course, social media, and there's a whole nother conversation about how driving traffic from social media is accepted now in the platforms. Of course, the platforms like Facebook and Meta platforms and any of them, they don't want you to leave their platform. So when you have a link directly in the body of your text in the post, they don't like that, and they're going to suppress your post because they don't want people leaving their sites. So then there's other tactics you can take to then post comments after there's engagement in the links of your message, to where you can say, we'll put the link in the bio or link below in the comments, those types of things. And then, of course, with the paid strategy, being able to have ads that can click through to a landing page that's very specific to your buyer persona that you're wanting to attract, and putting them through your customer journey and mapping them through that journey and how they're going to get there and what kind of information they're after, and understanding all of the types of information that they're going to click on and want to click on most, and doing some of that A/B testing and iterative testing to understand what ads are working better than others and why. And then incorporating that information into all of the campaigns that you're doing moving forward. Because if message is resonating in an ad spend that you're doing online, then chances are it might also resonate offline too, depending on what it is that you're wanting them to do. So ensuring that your creative speaks to your audience in a way that's going to get them captivated in your message. And of course, you don't always have to be the expert at understanding all of these things. We have spent a great deal of time of becoming Meta certified in digital marketing and marketing development, and becoming email certified in MailChimp. And then there's HubSpot Academy for inbound marketing certified, and Google Ads certification. There's a lot of things that we invest our time in. And if you want help along the way, we are always here to help you and guide you. And maybe it's just that you want a second opinion to run through what you're working on, or how you've built a funnel, or how you've created something that you feel like you just need somebody else to say yes, yay, nay, or maybe you could try this or that or the other. Let us know. We are always happy to help you in the various methods to leverage and help you continuously build your brand and your bottom line. Welcome to the Marketing Expedition podcast. I'm your host, Ray Allen. I'm the president and CEO of Peppershock Media and the founder of the Marketing Expedition community. And today's guest, we have Chris Pierre joining us. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Thanks, Ray. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So, Chris, I always love to give our audience just a kind of a brief background. I know we've got your bio and all that good stuff, but sometimes I like to just hear straight from the horse's mouth. What got you to where you are now? Tell us all about the companies you run and all the fun things that you've done, and the author. I mean, just all the things. But give us a kind of just a where did you start, and how did you get to where you are now?
Oh, wow. That's a long story. Quick overview. My background, I was actually a graphic designer. I graduated from Kent State University in Ohio.
Right.
Shortly after graduating, I worked at a couple small agencies, and then worked for some really large corporations. I worked for American Greetings Corporation for 5 years, then for Ernst & Young for 5 years. And then I started my first marketing agency, which is called Sync Show. And Sync Show is a full service marketing agency that focuses on ROI-driven marketing. And we work exclusively with B2B industrial companies, which is mostly manufacturers, transportation, logistics, warehousing, and distribution, and the service firms that serve them. And then chronologically, a couple of years ago, it was about 3 years ago, I started writing a book with some other team members here at Sync Show called The Great 8 Pillars of ROI-Driven Marketing. And we published that book last year. And then as a derivative of the book, I started another company called G8P.co, and it's a marketing consultancy exclusively for manufacturing firms.
Very nice. So lots of good nuggets in that book, I'm sure. Can you tell me maybe just a success story of something that you've done for one of your clients that you're super proud of that could share a little bit into what you do and how you do for the clients that you serve, and then the results that occurred because of what you did?
Sure. So one that always comes to mind when somebody asks this question to me is we had a small manufacturing firm. This is going back about 5 years ago. Our ethos at SyncShow is all about ROI-driven marketing. It's all about providing results and a return on investment from the marketing spend. And especially in manufacturing and some of these small businesses, they often don't have the big budgets, but it's extremely important and meaningful for them. And so we work really hard to provide value. And this one client, I had met him through a social hobby of mine, and he ended up hiring us on, and he had a business partner. We worked for like 3 years with this company. And over that 3-year period, the partner that hired me had retired. And one day we were doing a video shoot on the client's site for them. And the other partner pulled me aside and he goes, "Chris, I got to tell you this story because I never told you before." He goes, "But when we hired you," he goes, "I didn't want to do it. You guys were really expensive. And what you didn't know was that I had just cashed in my 401k to cover payroll. The bank was calling our loans and we were about to go bankrupt."
Oh, no.
And he goes, "We couldn't afford you, but it was our last effort to save the business."
And you didn't know this at the time. You had no
I knew
idea.
none of it.
Surprise!
I know.
I can only guess and imagine where this is going. Keep going. This is great.
Yeah. So of course we had just finished the video shoot. I wish I had this all on video, but he said, "Chris, you saved my company. Your team saved my company." And he ended up terminating our services like a year after that. And I said, "Well, why are you canceling services? I thought I saved your company." He goes, "We don't need you anymore."
Oh.
He's like, "Our website is getting so many leads and we've got more business than we can handle." And he goes, "I got a backlog for at least a year." And so we're still friends today.
That's good.
We see each other a couple times a year, and I'm really happy. So that just was one of the stories that just makes me feel really
that
good
definitely warms your heart in knowing that you helped a company turn themselves around. So what are some of the tactics? What did you deploy? What did you execute that literally saved his company?
So one of the key things that we do, and this is what the book is all about. So
yeah,
I'll tell a quick story. About 3 years ago, a gentleman on my team, his name is John. John walked into my office. He was new at SyncShow, and he said, "Chris, I'm just getting acclimated with the business and I'm looking at all of our case studies." He's like, "What are we doing? I've never seen results like this." And I said, "Honestly, John, I don't really know."
Sure.
I know we have certain processes and systems and all that, but to be specific, I don't know exactly what is getting us consistent results.
What's the magic sauce? Let's making it consistent. That's good.
Yeah. And he's like, "Well, we got to figure that out." And I said, "Okay, let's do it." So we spent about 18 months deep diving into every single client as to what made them successful and why some failed. And we boiled it down to like 130 areas of marketing, which we then simplified and simplified. And at the end of the process, we ended up with 8 core areas of marketing that we found were critical. And if they weren't implemented properly, your chances for return on investment were very difficult. And so we ended
Let me
up.
guess. One is they need to spend some money to make money. I'm just guessing
No, I
here.
should put that one in there though. Money would be the.
Yeah, but no, go ahead, share. I want to hear more.
So what we realized was over the years was We always started with strategy first. We believed that jumping straight into marketing tactics never works. And usually when I'm talking to a prospect that's working with a current agency or had fired their previous agency, it was because they jumped straight into tactics and the tactics weren't delivering. So we started piecing this together. And so number one, and I'll just walk you through the pillars if that's okay.
Yeah, that's great.
So pillar number one is goals, KPIs, and industry benchmarks. And really the emphasis there is on goals. What is the goal of marketing? And it needs to be tied to an ROI. So typically this is sales, revenue produced from marketing driven leads or marketing efforts. Key performance indicators that you would assign to that goal, and then comparing your marketing effort against traditional industry benchmarks. Number two is marketing strategy. And Ray, I can tell you, after having worked with hundreds of companies over 22 years, not a single company has come to us with an existing marketing strategy in place, a written marketing strategy, and said, can you help us implement this?
Right. It's pretty rare that people actually have a whole plan in place. And I can relate to that. That's definitely something that people need to be aware of, to spend time on, and not just jump straight to the tactic and expect it to work. Yes.
Exactly.
Okay. So that's pillar number one. And I have to tell you, so KPIs, I love this term that I learned when I went through a program together with a whole bunch of other entrepreneurs. Kept promise indicators.
Yeah, I'd never heard that one, but that's a good one.
KPIs, that's fine, key performance indicators, but kept promise indicators. I thought that was kind of fun. So okay, let's go on to pillar number two.
So pillar number two is value proposition, messaging, and branding. And this is really critical. So you got your goal, pillar number one. Pillar number two is if you don't have a strong value proposition, and if that value proposition is not well articulated, your buyers have no concept of how you can help them, solve their problems,
Right.
survive or thrive. And so they're going to go with the company that does articulate, what they do the best. So one thing that we always do with all our clients is we assess their current value proposition and how they're messaging it. And if it's not well done, we dive into that first, because if you don't have a well articulated and differentiated value proposition in the marketplace, your chances of getting sales, even if you get leads, of getting closed sales is much more difficult.
Right. And so with that, then now you've got the goals, you've got what you're going to do, how you're going to understand what those are and what those benchmarks are. Now you've got your value proposition and it's clearly articulated. What's next?
So next, I touched on it, is your marketing strategy. So we build out a robust marketing strategy, including inbound, outbound, and sometimes account-based marketing initiatives. And it's all geared towards the customer, our customers' ideal customer profile and buyer personas. So I use an analogy all the time. My team's probably sick of hearing me say it, but I'm a big bass fisherman. I love to go bass fishing.
Oh, I love to go fishing too. I have two boys and I grew up with 9 uncles. So fishing is definitely very much part of what we do.
Yeah. So when you go fishing, every species of fish is different. They're in different depths, different types of water. If you're ocean fishing, it's salt water and different kinds of fishing. So I use that analogy a lot because regardless of the species of fish you're going after, you have certain tactics, certain vehicles, like certain types of boats, rods and reels, lures, and different water. And it's a lot like marketing. If you don't understand your ideal customer profile and how they make buying decisions, you don't know what tackle to bring,
Right.
or where to go hunting for this. Yep.
Yeah.
So that's the marketing strategy piece. Yeah. And then that quickly turns into pillar number 4, which is your marketing team structure. Do you have the right team in place to pull off your strategy?
Mm-hmm.
We find often, and this goes back to your money comment earlier, A lot of companies don't have the budget to hire the right people to pull off an ROI-driven marketing
Mhm.
program. So sometimes going the agency route is the only way they can afford it. So we map out in the book, making sure you have the right people in the right seats on your marketing team.
That's great. Well, and yeah, making sure that you have a division of duties and understanding what their capabilities are, because sometimes you might be having somebody in the wrong seat on the bus, right? I mean, maybe they are much more proficient at something else than what you actually have them doing. That makes a lot of sense, because then put people in their strengths and what their superpowers are so that they can perform the way you need them to, right?
Exactly. And we do that here at Sync Show, and we encourage our clients to do it if they have a marketing team. Like a lot of agencies have what are traditionally called account managers. And
Mhm.
at a lot of marketing agencies, those account managers are doing everything. They're doing the strategy, the project management, the tactical implementation. Sometimes they're doing their own writing or social media.
Mhm.
Here at Sync Show, we realized over the years that no one person is really strong at all those areas. And if they are highly competent, it's very difficult for them to keep up the morale and the enjoyment in their work if they're doing a lot of things they don't like to do.
Or maybe
So we
they do some of the things like that whole adage of, they might be a Jack or Jane of all trades, but a master of some, right? And so now they're trying to do all the things, but then they don't get really proficient at one specific area because their time is divided by doing so many things that they don't become really good experts in that area that they could otherwise focus on, that they like, that they enjoy. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then you end up, if you have that jack of all trades, then you end up with subpar results, but you're also going to be paying not enough money for the stuff you should be paying more money for, like strategy and
Hmm.
market analysis. And then you're going to overpay for, the more junior level tactical things. So
Hmm. Hmm.
it just doesn't work.
That's good. Okay. So now we're to number 5.
Number 5 is the almighty website. So we realize that if your website does not represent your organization in a very professional way, communicate your value proposition, and meet all the gold standards for search engine optimization and user interface design and user experience, all the different components, then your chances of an ROI are very low as well. A lot of companies have what I call an online brochure, not a lead generation machine. And you really need a lead
Right.
generation machine.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. If you leave a brochure, like a paper brochure somewhere, it's not going to be able to talk back to you. It's not going to be able to, be able to do the things that you otherwise could have it do online for you. Yes, the almighty website. I like it. Is that the actual title of your pillar, is the almighty website?
In the book, the chapter is the almighty website. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I love that. That's so true. All right, so now we're to number 6.
Number 6 is analytics and reporting. So you've got all this foundational operational things in place. Now you got to have analytics and data and the proper reporting to monitor and measure what you're doing. And I think a big piece of this is, what are you monitoring and measuring, which goes back to pillar number 1, your KPIs. Who's getting those reports, who has authority over them, and who's accountable for the different areas. And how do you use the data to make informed decisions about what you should continue doing and stop doing? That's what
Mhm.
analytics and reporting is all about.
No, that's good for sure. I mean, you're only as good as what your data will tell you, and you have to make sure that your data is, valid and it's what you need it to be, and then interpretation of it too. I mean, it's great to get all this data, but if you don't understand it and how to use it to your advantage, then what's the point, right? So, helping people understand what the purpose and point and how it's going to help, that's crucial. Do you use any AI tools that kind of help with that, with reporting and analytics and things now? Are you integrating a lot of AI into your process?
We don't integrate AI independently for analytics and reporting. We're a HubSpot partner.
Oh yeah.
So we do almost all of our reporting through HubSpot dashboards, and HubSpot does have some AI built into it. I don't believe it's specific around analytics and reporting though, but we do
Mhm.
aggregate the data into one central location and then report on it through there for our
Nice.
clients.
Nice. So that they can at least
And
understand what you've done and how you're doing it and how it's working. That's good.
exactly. And I have to say real quick too, I think my experience is a lot of marketers report on what I call vanity metrics.
Mm.
And it's really important that in an ROI driven marketing scenario, you can still report on vanity metrics such as likes or followers or maybe it's open rates or things like that on emails. But I would, because they can be important and help guide informed decisions. But we also talk about in the book, don't get hung up on it.
Mhm.
Because especially leadership at companies, they might get addicted to some of those more vanity metrics because it feels good. But the objective here in this chapter is about return on investment. What marketing tactics and strategies are driving results?
Yeah. And yeah, sometimes it doesn't matter how many likes you have. It's more about what they're doing and who's following you that's specifically to who you want to follow you rather than, oh, we have 10,000 people who like our page. Well, yeah, out of those 10,000 people, who's actually going to buy from you, right?
Yep.
I would
Yep.
rather have 20 hot buyers versus 10,000 people who are just not even interested or even in the industry or even the profile, right? So yeah, it's all about the quality, not the quantity.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now we are where are we at? Number 7?
Number
No.
7
Yeah.
is your tech stack. So, what are
Yeah.
the tools you're using to pull off your marketing program? As I mentioned, we're a big HubSpot partner, big
Mhm.
believer in those tools. But whether it's HubSpot, a Marketo, or whatever other tool you use or combination of tools, just make sure that you can connect the dots. And in our world of ROI driven marketing, we really prefer and help our clients to connect your marketing automation with your customer relationship management system or CRM so that you can track first point of contact with a prospect all the way through close new business. And
Mhm.
that's one of the most efficient ways to measure return on investment through top line revenues.
Right. Yeah, and attracting and following. Like sometimes it really kind of is interesting that people don't know how they're getting their business or where it's coming from or, you know, it's all just storytelling rather than something that's factual or written down as to where their new prospects are or how they landed on your website to begin with or what referrals you're getting or anything like that. I mean, all those things you can track that, and that is so much more meaningful than how many likes you have. I mean, like you said, the vanity what did you say, the vanity matrix versus the actual data that's going to prove to you that, oh, you know what, maybe we should, continue this partnership with this lead source versus dumping those that don't work. And I think that's great that you're helping your clients track those things because it is so important to know where the heck your business is coming from, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And which tactics are driving, lead conversions and,
Yeah.
just being able to tie it all up with a nice bow and be able to tell that story or illustrate that story. Your technology stack, and you mentioned AI. So whether you're using AI or you're using a marketing automation platform or, a social media software, whatever it may be, just making sure that they're working for you and that they're making your life easier, more efficient,
Hmm.
and making your marketing more effective.
Absolutely. You're right. I think that is really important to track in your CRMs and put all of that together. So yeah, your
Yep.
tech stack. I'm sure I don't need to throw a bunch of statistics and percentages at you for you to know that most of us spend too much time staring at screens. Being able to consume your content on the go means that your clients and customers can listen and learn from you without being tied to their desks. With Hello Audio, your customers can put their phones down, power off their PCs, close their MacBooks, and get the information they need from you while they're, let's say, walking a dog, doing a jigsaw puzzle, washing the dishes, maybe when they're in the car or exercising on the treadmill, sunbathing in their garden. Well, Hello Audio makes it incredibly easy for you. No more hours spent trying to figure out tech settings or trying to make a square peg fit into a round hole. You can click publish on an audio feed in a matter of minutes and have control over who accesses what. So visit peppershock.com/offers and sign up for a free trial of Hello Audio. All right, so that leaves us with the last one, number 8.
Last one's easiest. It's templates and guides. So in the genre of return on investment, we really want to look at process optimization. The last thing you want to do is recreate that same template or web page or email over and over and over again and rewrite it and recode it. You want to use templates and guides so that you have a system in place, so you can reuse templates without having to rebuild them, or implement marketing automation or sales enablement automations. And it's really all about efficiency and productivity.
Right. I like that. Templates and guides. It really kind of helps with documenting the process and giving you a guide on how to do the things that you're going to do. And it sounds like from the story that you told with the client that, you saved their company and then they got to where they were backlogged in that scenario, helping them go through this entire process got them to where they are now. And of course, you should get them. You need to get a testimonial for sure.
I did. I got the testimonial. I just didn't get it on video.
I know, right? But yeah, I mean, getting them through this process and training and giving them the guides that they need to do that, I think that's super helpful. So yeah, I mean, so we've got number 1, goals, KPIs, and benchmarks. Number 2, the strong value prop. The number 3 was the strategy, with all the inbound, outbound, and account based. Then number, 4, we were team structure, right people, right seats. Number 5, the almighty website. 6, analytics and reporting and the data that needs to go with it. 7 is your tech stack, and 8 is the templates and guides. I just wanted to repeat that because I don't know if audio was super strong, so I wanted to make sure that people got that. But I think that going through all of these processes and allowing clients to understand how important it is to go through that and take the time to do it and not just try to jump in and, see if something will work. And then, 2 months later, they're like, well, it didn't work. So I'm going to, I'm just going to cut it out because it's not working. It's like, it doesn't work that way. You need to have a long-term strategy and plan and put all these things in place so that you can get a more framework for driving that ROI that you're after and doing those types of things. So Chris, do you have another story to tell from another client that you can maybe share some of the specific maybe strategies that you put in place and things that they went through and how they were able to get to this point where they are, singing from the same sheet of music and doing the things that we want to make it sound like a beautiful orchestra?
Yeah, absolutely. And in the book too, if anybody's interested, if this is all ringing a bell, the book is available on Amazon. It's called The Great 8 Pillars of ROI-Driven Marketing. And, Ray, as you're asking for stories, I've incorporated in each chapter what I call lessons learned.
Ooh, okay, good.
And the lessons throughout the book are basically the mistakes we made that really provided guidance on how to improve. And a lot of it led to the methodology of the Great 8 Pillars. And, I'll tell one more story in a moment, but I think it's really important. The book is not a how-to marketing tactics book. You can get those everywhere. Mm-hmm. This is all about how to set up a remarkable marketing operational infrastructure. It's like that. The one key piece of marketing that most companies don't either spend the time to do or understand how to do.
Right.
And
They're
so,
focused their time spending on how to, manufacture the product that they're creating, but they also need to spend just as much time and even more importantly so on manufacturing the marketing strategy and plan that's going to work.
yep, exactly.
Yeah. All right. So
Yeah,
you had another story to share. Let's hear it.
I'll tell one story. It was a lessons learned. We had a client that was a group purchasing organization, and it was pretty good sized company. And we had started working with them about 9 months prior to this story.
Okay.
So we've been working with them for about 9 months, got them set up on HubSpot, got their CRM set up. We had gone through the strategy process, and we're now 9 months into implementing their marketing program, their marketing strategy. And we were excited because all of the KPIs were going up. Some of them were vanity KPIs, admittedly, at the time, but their leads were up, their website traffic was up, their social, every important key performance indicator was up. And we were headed out to their corporate headquarters for our quarterly business review, now in the 9th month or the 3rd quarter. And we sat in the room in their boardroom, and they had about 12 people from their team in there. And I brought 2 or 3 folks from SyncShow that were working on that account to go with me. And we walked in kind of feeling admittedly kind of cocky, and we were doing good. And right before the meeting started, the CEO walked in, and I just said, "Uh-oh." Like, she didn't look happy.
Uh-oh.
And before the meeting started, she said, "Chris, you said I would have more leads, more sales by now.
Oh.
I don't have more sales. You promised me more sales within 6 to 9 months." And I'm looking at the VP of sales who we reported to, and he just kind of looked at me, and he seemed surprised too. And so what I had told the CEO 9 months earlier is that I would be able to tell her in 6 to 9 months if she had a marketing issue, a sales issue, or a value prop issue. And I could say with confidence,
she
did
interpret
not
that
have.
to, you're getting me more sales.
Yes. And so I knew with confidence she didn't have a marketing issue. I knew with confidence she didn't have a sales issue because they were tracking everything in their CRM. And I said, you have a value prop issue. And we had a big discussion about it. And so what we realized was her business was very difficult to do business with. And there were a lot of requirements doing business with her company. And so we talked about it. We addressed those things. She made a lot of changes. I found out later she was very mad at me for calling her baby ugly.
Oh, no.
But within 3 months, they landed 18 new customers. And she ended up selling her business for a premium a couple years later.
Fantastic. So basically calling it out and explaining the situation as far as what was going wrong. And even though you guys were all happy about the KPIs that you were seeing and that there was, fluid increase in all of the different areas that you were tracking, the one thing that she was tracking is sales. And so I imagine then she's looking at the bottom line, looking at revenue, not seeing it. So then, of course, who gets blamed first, right? Usually the the marketing company that they hire, right? Isn't that always the truth?
Unfortunately it is, but it was such a great learning opportunity for everybody. It's the reason pillar number 2 is value prop messaging and branding.
Right. It's very important.
We now will not work with a customer unless we assess their value prop and make sure that it's nailed down at the beginning.
Yeah. Well, that's good. So maybe what are some of the things that you do to go through that value prop with them? Are you surveying? Are you, kind of walk me through that a little bit about what you do to make sure that it is nailed down and it is what it needs to be?
So we approach it in a number of different ways. One, we're going to request all of their current marketing and sales collateral. and we're going to review it for consistent messaging and branding. And we're really going to look for a couple of key components. One is, are they just basically, if you look at your website or your marketing collateral, your sales collateral, and it says, we do this, we do that, we do, it's a good indication that your value proposition is not well articulated.
Mm-hmm.
Donald
No, we don't need
Miller's,
a laundry list of things that you do, but instead some sort of way to, like you said, articulate it in a meaningful way that kind of resonates with the people that you want to attract. And yeah, the laundry list of things that you do doesn't necessarily provide that, right? I mean, it's like what do they say? I can't quite come up with the terminology right now, but it's, okay, fine, you can list out all the services, but if you don't have something that's going to be tactical in people's minds about how it's going to work for them and what they're going to get and what they're going to get out of it by working with you, right? Those are the things. And then the why behind it, right? You can say how you do and what you do, but why do you do it? And that seems like it's a good opening for a way to tell a nice story to share, to then be able to have that differentiator in some way,
yeah, I
right?
mean, absolutely. I think nobody wants to know how the chili's made.
Exactly.
They just want good chili. So when you
Yeah.
see marketing and sales collateral on websites that say, we do this, we do that, that's how you make your chili.
Mm-hmm.
What buyers want to know is how you're going to help them to win, how you're going to solve their problems.
Right.
And Donald Miller, I don't know if you've heard of him, but he has a great book called Building a Story Brand.
Mm-hmm.
He outlines this exact issue in that book. And so that's one of the first things we do, Ray, is we look at their value prop. We also do executive interviews, and we send out questionnaires to most of their senior leadership and their sales customer service reps. And what we're looking
Mm-hmm.
for are how they consistently or inconsistently answer questions about what they do, who they are, why it matters.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's inconsistent or everybody gives different answers, which is very common,
Yeah.
we know immediately that they're not all telling the same story. And that's a clear indication that they've never had a concise value proposition that is consistently messaged. And that's an issue.
Yeah. I always love to do word clouds. Like we record these conversations that we have with various different people, and then you've seen that where you put all the words in. We use like I think it's called otter.ai, where a tool that
Yeah,
will transcribe the words, and then we dump it into this tool, and then it creates a word cloud of the common words, and then the words that are more commonly used than not, they're larger than others. And it's fascinating to see what kind of words people consistently use on a regular basis to describe who they are and what they do. And it's fun to see. And sometimes it's revealing to some words that come out that you're like, why are we using that word to describe who we are and what we do? But on the flip
yeah,
side, it's nice because now you can use this for messaging and then knowing what people are consistently saying, and then adapt that into something that's palatable, that's, that continuously can be used over and over again for everybody in the company, not just one or two people, right?
exactly.
Very
I mean, if
cool.
everybody's telling the same story, especially sales and customer service, and that marketing is messaging out that same story,
Mm-hmm.
it's much more believable because it's consistent. So, I mean, how many times have you run into a salesperson or customer service rep and they tell you, well, we're the best because we have the best people, or we have the most seniority of staff, or
Mm-hmm.
it's like, well, prove that. How do you prove that? You believe that. I'm sure you believe it, but that's not really provable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And how
Show
do
me
you
how
spell
you
and
solved.
share and tell? That's right.
Yeah. Yep.
Very cool. Awesome. Okay, so let's dig in just a little bit more. We'll do one or two more of these, and then we can kind of wrap up. But I mean, the Almighty website is so important, and I know that like we touched base on not just having a brochure site, but what are some maybe recommendations you have for people who are trying to make their website better and more findable, more, more of that that tool that's going to be there for you, that engine that's going to actually help you get leads. I mean, is there specific things that you implement for your clients that have proven helpful? I know you use HubSpot, but is there like maybe some things that people just need to think about or haven't thought about? Maybe somebody listening right now just has one of those one-page brochure sites and needs to like consider some of the things that's going to help them understand how to make their website that engine that needs to be in that lead generation engine. What are some things that you think that would come to mind right away?
Yeah. So I'll answer your question more specifically in just a moment, but I wanted to back up a little bit. One thing I didn't talk about with the great 8 pillars is across those 8 pillars, we identified over 120 gold standards.
Oh.
And every single pillar has a grouping of gold standards. And these gold standards are either like industry best practices, or they're gold standards we've identified over the years, or they may even be like Google's gold standards.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to the website, search engine optimization is critical. And I won't get into SEO on this call,
Sure.
just because that's, a multi-hour.
That's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, that's, you can get pretty deep there. But, understanding what Google's expectations are and requirements are for ranking. But I'll go to the more ethereal, like visual components.
Yeah.
That everybody can understand. And one of them is when you visit your website and you go to the homepage, I guess one is to understand that not everybody enters your website from the homepage.
Right. Yeah. So
depending on how they find you or what they click on, they may end up on an internal page. So that's really important. But if they do go to your homepage, I'd say a majority of traffic will probably come to the homepage. Does your website specifically say or illustrate the value you offer to your customers above the fold or in the visible area of the website?
Right. Above the fold,
So
by the way,
often,
is an old newspaper terminology because it used to be
yes.
the page, the newspaper was folded in half, and so you wanted that prime real estate on the printed newspaper. And I love how it's transitioned into above the fold before you have to scroll, right?
Yep. Thank you for communicating that, because so many people have never heard that analogy or that phrase before.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so many times that we see a website where it'll have their name or some strange word or some animation up there that adds no value to helping a visitor to your website that has no idea who you are to really help them understand what you do, why it matters to them. Looking at your navigation, is content easy to find? Or are you burying things? Having the proper calls to actions throughout your website so that your goal is to get a visitor to convert or fill out a form or contact you so that you can get that lead. So having the right calls to actions and the right assets on your website is really important. For many of our customers, we recommend video. Video is the easiest way to tell your story.
Absolutely.
And people spend more time on your site then, and they click into more pages. And so you just got to think about the whole experience a website visitor has.
Yeah, I think that, and tracking it too, and understanding where people are going or how they're navigating or what is happening on the site specifically, and if like people are staying around or not. And video is such a great tool to keep people on your site longer and get them engaged, because sometimes people just won't read all of the text, but they'll watch a video with or without the audio.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And I think too, the video, like when you engage in a video project, it really forces you to think about the message that you want to send. And a lot of companies, if you look at their websites, they try to be everything for everybody. So they say, we do this, we do that. That's one of the big problems is the we word, but they really talk about all the different areas of value And what it does is it waters everything down. So, pick one or two key value points and stick to it and say, this is what we stand for. We found that goes a long way.
That's awesome. It does go a long way. Okay, so Chris, why don't we kind of wrap up? But I have maybe a couple questions. One, what's kind of maybe a summary or lasting thought that you'd like to make sure that our audience knows about and considers, and then after that, kind of share how people can reach to you. So, what would you like to? What's your last words?
Well, I would just leave everybody with marketing should provide a return on investment. It should be a profit center in your organization, not a loss leader. Mm-hmm. There is a proven system for not only attaining a return on investment, but how you build that system. And it is doable. It does take hard work. It's not super easy, but with the right guidance and the right team in place and the pillars in place, you can significantly grow your business through the proper marketing efforts. And I encourage everybody that is a marketer that's listening, or if you own a business or you work at a business, to really grasp the importance of marketing today, because it's changed radically over the last 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, no, that's really, really important to make sure that people get that for sure. And then if people would like to get information, you can mention in your plug, your book, how can they get a hold of it, and how can they reach out to you?
Yeah, so the book, as I mentioned, is available on Amazon.com. It is The Great 8 Pillars of ROI-Driven Marketing. You can get it in paperback or hardcover. If you'd like to learn more about SyncShow or my other company, G8P, it's syncshow.com, SYNCSHOW.com. And then the other business is G8P.co. While G8P is geared more for manufacturing companies, we have a pretty comprehensive downloads area where you can download pretty much every template we use for ROI-driven marketing. So everything from buyer persona templates to building out your marketing ROI budget and goal. We have a marketing strategy template there. You can download it for free. Nice. We also have an assessment you can take that's free.
Very cool. Well, we'll have to make sure that people check that out and get your book. I'm looking forward to getting a copy so that I can read it and share it with my students.
Awesome. And hey, regarding students, on G8P.co, we have a Grade 8 Pillars certification course.
Oh.
And for any of your listeners that would like to take it for free, it's normally a $750 course.
Oh, wow.
You can just type in the coupon code SYNCSHOW and you can get it for free.
Fantastic. Well, we'll definitely put that in the show notes so that people can get that. Thank you for giving value to our listeners and to our students who listen to this. They get to, I make them, they get to listen to learn from industry professionals like you and good thought leaders. And so thank you for sharing all the nuggets that you did today. I really appreciate it, Chris.
Thank you for having me. It's been great.
Awesome. And for those of you listening, the best thing that you can do for Chris and I is to share this with others that you know that need to hear what Chris had to say today. And of course, give us some reviews. That always helps us all in getting the rankings that we like. And again, thank you to those who do give us the reviews. We appreciate that. I do our monthly shout outs, and anybody who gives us a review, I give you a shout out in return as a way to say thank you. And Chris, thanks again. And we'll be sure to get this out and make sure everyone gets to see it.
Thanks, Ray.
All right. Until next time, everybody, enjoy your marketing journey.
Thanks for listening to the Marketing Expedition podcast. Want to continue the journey? Don't miss out on new episodes. Subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts. Wouldn't it be great if there was one place you can go to get all the latest information and tips about marketing and advertising? The Marketing Expedition community is that place. People like you gather in our online community to build relationships with others and find the latest marketing trends, tactics, tools, and technology. We help you build your brand and your bottom line. Start your adventure today. Visit themarketingexpedition.com to find out more.